Hi and welcome to the Office of Outreach. My name is Naomi Sanchez and today I'm going to get to teach you the easy step-by-step process of filling out your Applied Texas application. Today pretty much what I'm going to be doing is giving you an overview of the application and also guide you and give you necessary tips to successfully complete your application. When applying to UNT through the Applied Texas application, the application will open July 1st prior to your senior year, yet I do encourage you to apply as soon as possible or at least before the priority deadline of March 1st. Like all college applications, there will be some documents you will need before getting started, and these include your high school transcripts and your standardized SAT or ACT scores. Other documents that may be helpful are things like resumes with volunteer activities, extracurricular activities and awards, contact information for guardians and guidance counselors, parent employment information, and letters of recommendation. But if you want to know a little secret, UNT only requires one document out of this list, and it is basically just your transcripts. Another great thing to know is that UNT is completely test optional, so you are not required to take the ACT or the SAT test. That is completely up to you. And let's be honest, test taking is not the most fun. But if you are still planning to take the SAT or ACT, I do encourage you to complete the Applied Texas application and then send your test scores at a later date when available. Now, the Applied Texas application is divided into different sections, which include information about your background and interests. All of these components allow admissions officers to get a glimpse at who you are as an individual, from how you grew up to the ways you spend your time outside of school. These things help make up an image of who you are as a candidate for UNT. So as we can see here, I have a mock Applied Texas application, and here this is pretty much a replica of what the application is going to look like. Here in the biographical information, it's basically just basic student information. Here you're going to put in your first choice in school and major, and then your second choice of school and major. Upcoming, we're going to have social security question, when you were born, full and legal name, preferred and other names or aliases, these are not required, place of birth, and citizenship question. For this, answering yes or no is all right. There's no right or wrong answer. If you do answer no, you will have additional questions to answer, as we can see down below, just requesting additional information. Here we also have a couple more questions. This one's like U.S. military affiliation, permanent address, physical address, and contact information, from phone numbers to emergency contacts to student email addresses. And for this part, it is crucial that all students turn in information that is accurate. We have had students who misspell or mistype phone numbers and addresses. And so it is important for students to just make sure all the information is accurate, because this is information we're going to need to contact you. For the student email address, it is important to put in a reliable email. We've had students put in emails that they don't really check, or high school emails. The problem with the high school emails is that after you graduate, those emails go inactive. So any information that we are sending you would be going through that account and you would not be receiving it. So just make sure for this section you put in something that you regularly check. Here we have family, educational background, ethnicity and race, gender, and then that number 17 is going to be case by case if you were placed in foster care or adopted. Now, the second part of the biographical information is going to be just a little bit more specific. It's going to be asking you what languages you speak, family, income as well. And so it's going to be through brackets. Just make sure that you don't have to have the exact number. Just know around where your family income lies between these numbers. Household size, and this is including yourself, as you can see. And pretty much here in this section, it's, do you have any family obligations that keep you from participating in extracurricular activities? And so if this pertains to your situation, then I recommend you fill this out as well. Next, we have the educational background, and in this section, you will need information like your high school information, date expected to graduate, and available college credit hours for students who have taken the test, or also dual credit as well. So as we can see, the first question pertains, if you're going to be a freshman in college with college credit hours or without, you will have to put in that information. And here you pretty much have to see how much credit you have going into college, and you will go ahead and put that in here. Here, this question asks how you got that college credit. And so dual credit would be through classwork, and then college credit earned through testing would be like AP tests. Number 2 is just asking your high school information, where you went to school, and any previous high schools you attended as well. Third question is, do you have a GED or have you completed another high school equivalency program? For this, you could just put not applicable if you haven't graduated yet. If you have, you would put yes. If you haven't, you would put not applicable as of right now. So number 4 is going to be specific for students who have done dual credit or any extra college credit hours outside of their high school in a college or community college campus. And here, for example, if you're from Fort Worth and you went to TCC, that is what you would put here in this information. So in the next section of the educational information here, the first question is just asking you if you're trying to go into a pre-professional program. And here listed, it's if you're trying to go into pre-law, medicine, nursing, a pharmacy, physical therapy, this question would apply to you. Number 2 pertains to students trying to seek teacher certification. This question is just pretty much going to ask, if you are trying to seek this, what level are you trying to go into? So pretty much elementary school level, middle school, or high school, or all level. Now, number 3 is just asking you senior course information. What classes are you taking now as a senior? It's just easy. Pretty much, for example, we have calculus, English, economics, and government. It's going to ask you if it's AP, dual credit, and what semesters you're taking these classes for. So for this section, you're pretty much going to put in your test scores for any ACT or SAT tests you have taken. UNT is a test optional institution, so I'm guessing that now with that change, if you are not going to turn in any of those test scores, you can just go ahead and skip this page without clicking any of these options here. And if you have, you can just go ahead and click these and then go ahead and input your scores. And let me just tell you, just make sure these scores are accurate if you are going to input any information, because UNT will check your scores with College Board. So just a heads up for that. For the residency information, this section is probably going to be one of the most specific sections out of the whole application, and therefore it is important to make sure all the information you put in here is as specific and accurate as possible. We've had cases where for this section, students like misspell, their address or just input incorrect information. And because we do process and we do check this section, just failure to input the information correctly can lead to residency cases, which delay your application process. So just make sure that everything you do in this section is double checked. And for the mock example that I have here, it's not showing all the questions that will be shown. As you can see, I only have a couple being shown here. But I'm guessing for the actual application, it's probably going to be more specific as to how many people live in your household, dependents, and just pretty much like how long you've lived here in Texas and if you have any history of living anywhere else. So for this section, we have the extracurricular and volunteer activities. And basically for this section, it's just going to be asking you, what you've done through high school and all the things you've been involved in. This section is not required for people who meet automatic admission. I met automatic admission and I didn't fill this section out. But if you do feel more comfortable doing this section, you can go right ahead. And you can actually upload your online resume if you want, and that could just speed up the process instead of manually entering all the information you have here. So as we can see, this is what it looks like if you want to fill out for an activity or organization you have been part of, and it's pretty specific. So I feel like uploading a resume is probably easier if you do have one at hand. Here, this is what the community service log looks like, and it's pretty much asking you place of service, description of service, total hours, and the duration of the community service as well. Lastly, on this page, we're going to have talent awards and honors, and this is just pretty much any awards you have received during high school. Continue in that section, we have employment information. This is pretty much any jobs, internships, or summer activities you have had during your duration in high school as well. As we can see here, it asks what the job role was, employer, hours per week, and the duration of your time here. So this page is going to contain questions custom to the institution you're applying to. As we can see here, it is giving us step-by-step instructions. The reason it's not showing anything for me right now is because this is a mock example, but whatever you see here is going to be very unique to the school you are applying to. We also have a citizenship question, and aside from that, I believe this is all that you're going to see in the page. But for this section, whatever you see is going to differ from the universities you're applying to. So this section is just going to ask some simple questions. It's going to ask you if you would like to apply to scholarships, or if you're not interested in applying for scholarships, you can just go ahead and click that as well. It's probably going to look different on the student's end, but pretty much this is what this page consists of. So here we have the essay section, and pretty much you're going to have 3 prompts that you're going to have to answer. And the questions are going to be specific to the institution as well. So the questions that UNT has are not going to be the same as if you were applying to any other college. They're going to be very specific to where you are applying to. So for the essay section, you don't have to turn in an essay if you are automatic admission. Now, if you're on the verge of maybe being accepted or not being accepted, we always recommend that students turn in an essay and 2 letters of recommendation along with their applied Texas application, just to make their application look better. Now, depending on the institution you apply to, you may be required to turn in a scholarship essay and a major specific scholarship essay as well, especially if you did click on the available scholarships section that you wanted to fill out this section as well. What we recommend is that you just go ahead and submit your application as soon as possible, and then work on the essays if you don't have them finished right now, and then just turn them in later. It's very important to just get your application in so that it can start getting processed. So as you can see here on the last page, we have the certification and payment information. And these questions right here are basically like the terms and agreements of the Applied Texas application. Finally, in this last section, you will have an application fee. In order to have this application turned in, you will have to pay the $60 fee. Here it shows that it's $60, but I believe the updated one is $75. Now, before paying for the fee, I would definitely recommend students to go and check in with their counselor, or if they have a Go Center, to go with their Go Center mentor, because there are application fee waivers that can just completely waive your cost for your application. Students who usually qualify for this are students on free and reduced lunch program, but it's not limited to just students on that program as well. So before paying this fee, just go check in those 2 areas and see if you can get a fee waiver to not have to pay for the application. Now, apart from those 2 options, you can actually request for a fee waiver here in the application itself. It's going to ask for extra information, but you can also do it that way. Here, it's saying that if you're going to do a check or money order, you can just go ahead and mail it to this location too. So you can also do that as well. Here for the application essays, it's just going to ask if you want to go ahead and turn in your essay right now, or if you want to turn it in later. And pretty much after this page, you are done. Your application will get sent. From this point on, congratulations, you have finally finished your first step into your college journey. If you have any questions regarding the application system, you can always message our admissions counselors, and they are always more than happy to help with any questions you may have. You can always email us at unt.freshman@unt.edu, or give us a call at 940-565-2681. At the end of the day, admissions counselor's job is not to say no, but to find ways to say yes. Just because you don't meet the automatic admission requirements does not mean you will not get accepted. We're always here, ready to make UNT your new home. Go Mean Green.